What is the tipping point for a man to break under pain and humiliation? I imagine if you asked 50 different men, you'd receive 50 different answers. As I stood before the headstone of a man I barely knew, I couldn't help but ponder this question. Our paths crossed for only a few hours, yet those were enough to forever change my life. It was 7 years ago when I took a break from college and traveled to Cozumel with some friends. They promised an adventure filled with diving, partying, and women, and they delivered. The diving was amazing and the nights were wild. But one evening, I decided to take a break from it all and enjoy a quiet beer at a local bar. That's when he approached my table. "May I sit beside you?" the older gentleman inquired. He seemed to be in his 60s or maybe even older, with a weathered face and weary eyes that spoke of hardship. There was something about him that sparked recognition in me, and feeling generous, I welcomed him to join me. A smile appeared on his face as he reached out his hand. "I'm Alan Jacobs," he introduced himself. I shook his hand and replied, "George Richardson." He took a seat after we exchanged greetings and said, "Yes, I know who you are." Confused, I thought to myself, "What's going on here?" I asked him, "How do you know me?" "It's nothing sinister. I knew your father. We served together in Vietnam many years ago. He even saved my life once, along with several other Marines. He was awarded the Medal of Honor for it." He reached into his wallet and pulled out a faded photo, showing it to me with a sad smile. I recognized the picture immediately. It used to hang in my dad's office when he was alive. Alan pointed out some of the men in the photo, all wearing military uniforms. "Your dad is here," he said, pointing to one man. "And this guy here, we called him Spider because of how tall and lanky he was. But don't let his appearance fool you. He could hold his own in a fight." He paused, gazing at the photo with a distant look in his eyes, as if reminiscing about old comrades. Sadly, they're all gone now, except for me. After a few moments of silence, he looked back at me. "So, do you have a significant other? A fiancé, perhaps?" I shook my head. "Not right now. My focus is on my studies, but I have gone on some dates here and there," I replied. He nodded in approval. "Good for you," he said. "Believe me, the last thing you want to do now is get tied down to one woman. Chase them, do what you need to do, then move on quickly. Trust me." "You sound like you speak from experience. Are you married?" He let out a derisive snort. "Technically, I'm still married to her," he said, bitterness evident in his tone. "But it's all just a joke. It has been for years. I've given her everything, my best years, my faithfulness, adoration, and love. But how does she repay me? By tricking me, cutting me off, cheating on me, and humiliating me every chance she gets." Wow, I thought to myself, this man is full of resentment. "Do you want to hear the story?" he asked. Curiosity getting the better of me, I agreed. "Sure," I replied. He proceeded to tell me about how he and his wife Maggie enjoyed spontaneous scuba diving trips to places like Mexico to relieve stress from their jobs. He described Maggie as both beautiful and emotionally distant for many years. Things apparently changed 2 years ago when they were in Cozumel. It seems there was a smooth-talking guy from Spain who wormed his way into their relationship with the intent of seducing Maggie. And to make matters worse, he was arrogant about it too. "Can you believe the nerve of that guy?" Alan exclaimed. "He had the audacity to tell me he was going to sleep with my wife, and I would have to watch. Can you imagine? He even showed me the exact location and described everything my wife would do before meeting up with him. And here's the kicker. She followed through with it all. It was like they had planned it out in advance, like some sort of twisted script. My supposedly frigid 46-year-old wife, who never wanted anything from me, was suddenly shaving at his command and going out without any underwear like some spring break cheating woman. What the hell? I should have stopped her. but I didn't. I stupidly thought she would shut him down like she did everyone else, including me. But no, she went along with it. And what could I do? He made it clear that if I didn't go along with his plan, he would come back and sleep with her day and night until we were both old and gray. He said if I watched just once, he would leave us alone and go home. But that's not what happened. I was deceived by both of them. That was just the beginning. After that, my wife and he took every opportunity to embarrass and belittle me. I'll be honest with you, son. In a strange way, it was almost exciting in the beginning, even though it made me angry. I thought maybe she would come back to me and leave him behind, but that never happened. It all became stale very quickly, and there seems to be no end in sight. Why don't you just leave her, end things and move on? I suggested. 2 words, he replied. No fault. Understand what that means? I shook my head no. She gets pretty much everything. The house, half of our savings, half of my retirement fund, and a large portion of my salary. That means she gets to live in the home I built with half of my money, while I have to pay for her living expenses and still have to put up with her sleeping with her boyfriend. And according to several lawyers I've spoken to, that's just how it is. At my age and in my current condition, there's no way I'd be able to survive on my own, he told me. I asked him to clarify. A few months into this mess, I had a heart attack. It happened while they were having one of their sessions that she insisted I watch. Can you believe that they didn't even stop to call an ambulance? She actually said, "If he dies, he dies. We'll just take his insurance money and travel the world." Then they laughed about it. What kind of sick person does that? I somehow managed to crawl to the phone and call 911. They didn't even pause when the paramedics arrived. And you know what else? She and her lover took off during the entire time I was in the hospital. I have no clue where they went. Not once did she visit me or check on me. Not once. I took a risk. What if you sought revenge, burned her where it hurts, and found someone to make her watch? He stopped me. No, son, that wouldn't be right, he explained. I made a vow before God and everyone to remain loyal to her until death do us part. Those vows hold weight for me, even if they don't mean anything to her. But that was a turning point for me. I decided she wouldn't get a single thing from me. I changed my will and removed her as the beneficiary on my insurance and retirement plans. Screw her, he declared. Then about 4 months ago, I received news that I had an inoperable brain tumor. The doctor gave me 6 months to a year to live. That's when I decided to put an end to all of this, no matter what happens. And tonight is the night I regain my self-respect. I found it difficult to believe everything he was telling me. To prove his story, he pulled out his phone. I know you're probably thinking that this can't possibly be true. Nobody with a conscience would act like this, right? Maybe it's something you'd see in a movie or read on some steamy fiction website, but not in real life, he said. I couldn't help but agree. He pulled out his phone and started typing, then handed me his phone. Take a look at this video, then tell me what you think. I put on the earbuds and hit play. In the video, I saw an attractive older woman riding a man whose face was hidden by her body. She seemed to be looking directly into the camera, but upon closer examination, she was looking at the man holding the camera. She had a smile on her face, but it lacked any warmth. "Do you like what you see?" she asked as she continued to ride. "Your face says no, but I know you do. You love watching me get filled, don't you? You might shake your head no, but I know better. Don't worry, you'll never touch me again." As she stood up, she exclaimed, "Wow, that felt amazing. What's wrong? You look pale. Are you going to have another heart attack?" "Good. Maybe it'll be fatal this time. I'll play the role of the grieving widow perfectly. After all, I've been acting like the loving spouse for years. I'm pretty good at deceiving people." "Then we'll take your insurance money and travel to all the places we've always wanted to visit and indulge in endless intimacy," she added with a laugh. The man beneath her sat up and joined in her laughter, wrapping his arm around her. She turned to face him. "Let's do it again, big guy. Maybe we can make him have a stroke this time," she said playfully. The video ended with both lovers laughing hysterically. My mind was reeling as I stared at the blank screen before me. "I have many other videos just like this," Alan informed me. "Why is she doing this? Did you cheat on her or abuse her?" He shook his head. "No, I never once cheated on her, and I always treated her like royalty. But I did ask her once." "Watch this," he said, taking the phone and pulling up another video. In the second video, his wife's back was in clear view as he confronted her. "Why are you doing this to us?" "To me?" I heard him ask. "I've never cheated on you, and I treat you with nothing but love and respect. Please, help me understand why you're causing so much pain." She let out a heavy sigh before turning around to face him, clearly annoyed by his questioning. "Listen, you just don't do it for me anymore, okay? I know you've been faithful, and yes, you take care of us financially, but I need someone else's attention, and yours just doesn't turn me on like it used to. So please, just let me have this. We can still be together and everything will be fine. Maybe in a few years I'll get tired of him and we can retire and laugh about all of this when we're old." "Just let me have this," she pleaded. "No, Mags, I won't let this go. This won't end well for either of us," Alan insisted in the video. "Damn it, if you even think about divorce, I'll ruin you. Then I'll take everything from you and continue seeing him. And guess who will be left paying the bills? You got that?" The video cut to black, leaving me speechless. How could someone be so heartless? "You have enough evidence to destroy her," I said. He grinned in response. "You're starting to understand now." Alan leaned in and spoke with a sinister tone. "These videos have the power to destroy her, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Tonight is just the beginning of their downfall. But I can't do it alone. I need your help, George." I was tempted, but there was still one question nagging at me. "Why me? Surely you could find someone else to assist you." Alan nodded, understanding my doubt. "Of course I could. But you see, George, you are like a son to me. My wife refused to have children. She claimed they would hinder her career. So, when I'm gone, there will be no trace of me left. No descendants, no legacy, nothing. It's just me." He paused for a moment before continuing. "And there's something else. Let me ask you this. How many C students receive $1 million scholarship to an Ivy League school?" That stopped me in my tracks. In high school, I had been quite lazy, much to my parents' dismay, and yet somehow I was awarded a huge scholarship from a private foundation supposedly dedicated to helping Vietnam veterans' families. It covered all of my expenses, tuition, books, housing, and even gave me extra money for trips and other needs with certain limitations. After receiving that scholarship, I promised my mother I would focus on my studies, and so far I have kept that promise. Alan leaned forward and began to speak. "Your father and I stayed in touch after the war. We corresponded through letters and emails, and your mother and I have met several times. We even introduced you two, but you were just a baby then. So I doubt you remember. When your father was in the hospital for the last time, I visited him. It was then that he asked me to make sure his family would be taken care of. His medical condition had drained their finances, so I set up a private foundation to cover all of his expenses. And I also established $1 million trust for your mother and a scholarship for you as a token of my gratitude for the man who saved my life in Vietnam." Alan's voice grew heavy as he continued. "But lately, I've regretted surviving that war. So tonight, on what could be my last night alive, I'm asking for your help, George. Will you join me in reclaiming some part of my dignity and manhood? This will be my final wish as a dying man." I processed his words carefully before responding. "Is there another way?" Can we take legal action against her for mental cruelty or go after her job?" He shook his head solemnly. "No, it's too late for that now. I'm already a dead man walking. In a month or so, I'll probably end up back in the hospital for good this time. And I refuse to die like that, alone and frail, and I won't let her have any control over my final affairs." I couldn't help but feel skeptical about his plan. "Are you sure it will work?" But Alan simply smiled confidently in response. "I have the element of surprise on my side. They're expecting an old, defeated man. They won't see the storm that's about to hit them." "You're not going to harm her, are you?" I asked cautiously. "No, I want her to suffer, to live a long life and remember this night as the lowest point of it all. She needs to face the shame of what she did to me, to us. Trust me, she's going to have a lot of explaining to do." "What exactly do you need me to do?" I inquired, hoping he wouldn't ask me to hurt or kill anyone. "Not much. Just record the encounter and email it out, then hand her an envelope with the video inside. I already have the email drafted up, so all you'll have to do is attach the video and send it." He pulled out 2 envelopes from his pocket. The thick one is for her. It explains everything that will happen tonight. The other one is for you. "What's in mine?" I asked curiously. "There's a key to a safe deposit box, a card, and a letter with instructions. After we finish tonight, you'll need to call my lawyer. He's expecting your call and will explain everything in detail," he instructed. "I'll do it," I agreed. What was the harm? Record a video, send it out, and give her an envelope. Simple enough. A small smile crept onto Alan's face. "Thank you, George. This means a lot to me. Consider it my final act of rebellion," he said with satisfaction. We finished our beers while watching a soccer game on the large television screen. Alan checked his watch and announced that it was time to leave. I followed him out of the bar, unsure of where we were heading. He remained mostly silent, but offered me some advice. "George, one day you'll meet a woman and fall in love. Despite my earlier advice to move quickly and break up with them sooner rather than later, love will inevitably find us all. But before you get married, do yourself a favor and closely observe her character. Watch how she treats her parents, because that's probably how she'll treat you. And make sure she signs a prenuptial agreement before you tie the knot. Protect yourself. Also, don't let your relationship turn into mine. Always prioritize her happiness and love her with all your heart, but take action at the first sign of trouble," he advised. It sounded like sound guidance. We finally arrived at our destination, where 2 people were waiting for Alan, the woman from the video sitting on an outdoor staircase and a tall man next to her. In the dim lighting, it appeared as though the woman was performing intimacy on him, but I couldn't be certain. Alan stopped and glanced back at me. "This is it, showtime. You have my phone, so start recording once I approach them. And just a warning. What you're about to see may be disturbing," he said. "Listen, Alan, I apologize for everything that's happened. I barely know you, but I can tell you would have been a great father." He smiled and placed his hand on my shoulder. "George, you're the spitting image of your dad. I know he'd be proud of you right now," he said. His words reminded me of something my father used to say. "Alan, semper fi." He grinned. I plugged in my earbuds so I could listen to the conversation and adjusted his phone for a better angle. I zoomed in slightly to get a clearer view. The couple on the staircase noticed Alan approaching, but they didn't see me. The man stood taller with a smirk on his face as he spoke. I wanted to wipe that smirk off with one punch. Well, look who finally showed up," he taunted, earning a smile from the woman next to him. To my surprise, the sound quality was impeccable. "I'm here," Alan stated firmly. "Let's just get this over with." "Not so fast," the man sneered as he pulled out a bottle of champagne and 3 flutes. After pouring drinks for himself and the woman, he offered one to Alan. "Let's make a toast before we begin, shall we? After all, It is our 2-year anniversary today, isn't it? 2 years since I first found your wife right here on these very steps. Alan remained stoic, keeping his hands at his sides and saying nothing. "Oh, come on now, Alan," the woman interjected. "Don't be such a killjoy. This is a special day for us all, isn't it? Don't you want to celebrate with us? Maybe even reenact that first night. I'm wearing the same dress, you know. Don't you like it? We can have a little toast and then you can watch him, just like we did that first time. I am already dripping with anticipation. And afterward, you can sit and watch us all night long. It'll be so much fun." Alan reached behind his back and retrieved the gun he had hidden in his belt. He stood firmly, holding the pistol with both hands, just as my dad had taught me years ago. The other man's smirk disappeared when he saw the weapon aimed at his head. "Well, looks like little boy has finally grown a pair," he taunted. "What are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me?" He laughed, and the woman beside him joined in. "This ends now," Alan declared with determination. "And yes, I'm going to blow your brains out." "I guess I should be prepared to meet my maker then," the man sarcastically replied with arms open wide. "Shut up and don't move," Alan commanded, cocking the gun. The man's expression changed as he realized Alan was serious. The woman's tone also shifted. "Alan, please don't do anything rash. Look, you don't have to watch us, okay? Just go away and we'll still have fun without you. It won't be the same without you here for us to humiliate." "Shut up, woman. I'll deal with you next." Her eyes widened in shock. Alan had never spoken to her like this before. "Alan, listen. We don't have to resort to violence. This isn't necessary. You're not really going to shoot anyone," the smirking man said, now visibly nervous. "Oh, so it's please now. That's the problem with assholes like you. You think you can just stroll into someone's home, steal their wife, strip them of their dignity, and expect them to discuss it calmly. The problem with people like you is that you mistake patience for weakness. You get overconfident. Well, guess what? Tonight you're gonna pay the piper. You were being intimate with my wife, stole my dignity and manhood, and tonight I'm taking it all back. And yes, you will die." "Alan, please don't do this," the man begged as he glanced at the gun in Alan's hand. "Would you beg for mercy if our roles were reversed?" Alan retorted. The man slowly dropped to his knees and raised his hands in surrender. "Please, Alan, spare my life. We can end this now and I'll never bother you again," he pleaded. Alan turned to face his wife. "Look at him now, Maggie. Your lover is on his knees begging for forgiveness. How does it feel? Not so confident anymore, are you?" He sneered at the man. "What do you think, Mags? Should I let him live? No, I don't think so." "Goodbye, scumbag," Alan said before pulling the trigger. The man's eyes widened in fear at Alan's words, but he had no time to respond as the bullet struck him between the eyes, shattering his skull and spilling out half of his brain. He fell backward with a thud, blood pooling around him. Maggie screamed and covered her ears. Alan aimed the gun at her. "Shut up!" he yelled. "Just shut the hell up!" Maggie stopped screaming, but tears streamed down her face, smudging her makeup. "You killed him!" she cried out. "Yes, I did. But you and your lover killed me 2 years ago, and every day since then, you've been stabbing a knife into my heart. So I guess we're even now. It's your turn to feel pain." "Please, Alan, don't kill me. I'm sorry for what I did to you." "No, Mags, you're not sorry. Not at all. And don't worry, I'm not going to kill you," Alan said, a twisted smile forming on his face. "Not that I haven't thought about it. Oh yeah, I actually considered killing you 100 times, and I could have done it too. But I figured that would be too good for you. Now I want you to live to be 100, and I want every day to be a reminder of what you did. That's right. You are directly responsible for the deaths of 2 men. One being your lover, and the other being the man who loved you exclusively for 17 years. And by the way, Mags, I'm dying. 4 months ago, I was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor and given 6 months to a year to live. But I decided to take charge of my own fate. And before you celebrate my death, I want you to know that I changed my will and all my retirement accounts after my heart attack. You're getting nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. After I'm done here, there'll be a nice young man giving you something that explains it all, he said. Can't we talk this out? She asked. No, Mags. I tried talking to you for the last 2 years. You made it clear how you felt about me. Now you're going to pay the price. Hell, you probably didn't even notice that I haven't worn my wedding ring for the last few months, have you? Yeah, I know you spent $2,000 on that ring. I got $20 for it at a pawn shop. Maybe if you're quick, you can get it out of hock before they sell it, he said. You did what? That was a special ring I had made just for you. Yeah, about that. You didn't seem to give a shit about it the last 10 years, did you? You sure as hell didn't care the last 2 years. In fact, I don't even remember you once telling me that you loved me in the last few years. In fact, you made it clear I just didn't do it for you anymore. I could have accepted a divorce, but no. You had to hurt and humiliate me every chance you got. Please, Alan, let's get some help. Maybe some counseling. Don't do this, she begged. Now you give a shit? Now that I'm really dying? No, Mags, it's too late. I warned you this wouldn't end well, but you wouldn't listen. Oh, and by the way, you might want to prepare yourself to get a shitload of calls after I'm done. You see, this is all being recorded and will be sent by email to everyone you know. Your friends, family, everyone you work with, even a bunch of media contacts. No, please, she cried. Let's start over, please. I've learned my lesson. Too little, too late, Mags. Goodbye. With that, Alan put the gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger. The top of his head flew off, spraying blood and gray matter everywhere. Maggie screamed hysterically. No! Please, Alan, no! Don't die, please! Come back to me, Alan, please, please, please! I'm sorry, Alan, really I am. Alan, please! I didn't mean it. I really do love you. I stopped the video, saved it, then pulled up the email draft, attached it, and hit send. I waited until I saw the notification that the email had been sent and turned the phone off. I walked to the hysterical woman who looked up at me. I pulled out the envelope marked Mags and handed it to her. Who are you? She asked through her sobs. From what Alan says, I'm the closest thing to a son he ever had. Too bad. I think he would have made a great dad. Good luck, I said. I heard the sound of sirens and left as quickly as I could. I may have seemed calm outside, but was shaking for quite some time. I had, after all, just witnessed one man's murder and another man commit suicide in the most violent way imaginable. It took me some time before I could keep it together long enough to place a couple of calls. The first call was to my buddies, telling them I had to leave early in the morning. They took it well, but asked if I was all right. I promised to tell them about it sometime. The next call was to the attorney whose number was on the card in the envelope Alan gave me. I identified myself and we spoke for a few minutes. He told me to come see him at his D.C. office in the next day or two, then gave me the directions to the bank that held the safe deposit box where I was to store Alan's phone. He then told me to turn on the news. I did, and saw a shortened, edited version of the video I sent out. Apparently, the suicide of a prominent member of the Washington political class was considered newsworthy. Attempts to reach the widow of Alan Jacobs have so far been unsuccessful. According to videos sent to a number of media outlets, tonight's incident is the result of what appears to be an ongoing love affair she allegedly had with a foreign diplomat. It's not known exactly how Jacobs sent the video of his own suicide, but it's generally believed he had help doing so. The State Department has not released a statement on the murder of the foreign diplomat. Stay tuned for updates. I flipped through the news channels to see my video everywhere. I fired up my laptop and found that reports on Alan's suicide had gone viral. Reports said there were 3 videos, but parts of only one were considered safe for network use. At least one of the other 2 videos, the articles said, were pornographic in nature and showed Mrs. Jacobs engaging in sexual activity with the foreign diplomat. The next day, I returned to the States and made my way to the attorney I had spoken to earlier. He informed me that Alan had changed his will some time ago, making me the sole beneficiary of his entire estate except for his house, which he had given to a non-profit group so it could be turned into a shelter for homeless veterans. After taxes and fees, he said, I would receive about $10 million. A few days later, I was at Arlington National Cemetery, attending Alan's funeral. Mrs. Jacobs was there as well, playing the role of the grieving widow, but no one paid her any attention. She sobbed as a Marine in dress blues handed her the flag that was draped over his coffin. The reading of Alan's will went about the same. She tried contesting the will, but withdrew her objection after Alan's attorney suggested some of the more salacious videos of her with her lover would be used against her, and thus become public record. After the meeting, she came over to me. I hope you're happy. I lost everything. I couldn't believe my ears. You didn't lose anything. You threw it away. To be precise, you deliberately messed it away. Now you're getting what you deserve. I left her standing there and went back to school, where I became more determined than ever to do my best. I wanted to be the kind of man that would make both Alan and my dad proud. At the same time, I kept a loose tab on Maggie Jacobs and caught an interview with her on one of those daytime talk shows for women. She tried to play the victim, claiming abuse and infidelity, and 3 of the co-hosts went along, but one of the hosts had apparently seen all 3 videos and began to politely confront her with her own words. Maggie denied ever saying what the host recalled, so she played the video where she admitted that Alan had never abused her or cheated on her. And isn't it true that you refused to call 911 when your husband was having a heart attack? From what I understand, you and your lover kept right on having intimacy even as your husband was dying. How do you respond to that? Naturally, that pretty much ended the interview, and Maggie left the set in tears, having been confronted by her own words and actions. To my knowledge, she never appeared on any other program. Then, an article appeared a few months later that said she was found dead in her apartment, the apparent victim of suicide. According to the report, she had been placed on paid administrative leave following Alan's suicide. The man she was screwing turned out to be more than just a foreign diplomat. Several intelligence operatives had apparently connected him to ISIS, and there were those who believed Maggie had passed on sensitive information. Unable to deal with the result of her own actions, she took an overdose of pills, followed by a significant amount of alcohol. Officers who discovered her body said she was wearing her wedding dress and was holding her wedding photo to her breast. A note on her nightstand simply read, "Please forgive me." I followed Alan's advice where women were concerned. I dated quite a few, did what I set out to do, and moved on. I fell in love a time or two but changed my mind after I met their parents. Then I met Karen. We dated for a long time, and I found myself falling in love with her. She invited me to meet her parents over the holiday, and I was struck by the way they interacted with each other. Although married for 30 years, they acted like teenagers, constantly sneaking hugs and kisses. It was obvious they truly loved one another. More than once, Karen suggested they get a room. "How do you think you got here?" her mom said, laughing. By the end of the trip, my mind was made up. Her father spoke to me privately before we left. "You seem like a really nice guy, George, and I see how my daughter looks at you. Tell me the truth. Do you love her? I mean, really love her?" he asked. "Yes, sir, I do," I told him. It was true. I did love Karen very much. "Do you love her enough to spend the rest of your life with her?" he asked. That was the $64,000 question. "I believe I do," I told him. "Good, because if you ever hurt my little girl, you'll have us to answer to." I considered what he said and carefully formulated my response. I realized he was only looking out for his daughter, and I respected that. "Sir, I know firsthand what can happen when a marriage breaks down. I've personally seen the pain it can cause, and I swear to you that I would never ever do anything to hurt her. Someday I'll tell you my story, and I hope you'll understand. I'm not sure if it was the expression on my face or the tear struggling to escape my eye, but he seemed to understand and shook his head. Okay, George, that's good enough for now, and I'm going to hold you to that. Karen and I married after I graduated law school. At her father's insistence, we signed a prenuptial agreement to protect both our assets. In addition to my $10 million, Karen had inherited a large sum of money from her grandparents, and we all agreed it was for the best. She and her parents seemed confused when I told them of my plan to join the Marines and become a JAG officer, a military attorney. They had assumed I would be accepting a high-paying job with one of the many prominent law firms that tried to recruit me. That's when I told them of my dad and Alan. "Oh my God, that's so sad," Karen said. I played them the video I took that night in Cozumel. Although Alan's phone was still in storage, I was one of the 1,000-plus recipients of the email sent out that night. You were the one who took that video? I wondered how he got that video to the media so fast. Didn't anyone ever question you? No. I guess the authorities figured it didn't really matter. And now with Mrs. Jacobs dead, the case is closed. I've got lots of video that he took, but it's not something for the squeamish. I looked at Karen's father. Now you know why I'll never do anything to hurt your little girl. And I assure you, if there's any problems, I'll take the initiative and get them fixed before they get out of hand. He understood, giving me a manly hug. I believe you, son. And thanks for sharing that with us. It had to be painful to witness that. About a year later, Karen gave birth to a boy. She asked me what I would like to name him, and I said, Michael Allen Richardson, after the two bravest men I've ever known. Michael was my father's first name, and you already know who Allen is. Michael Allen. I like it. Michael Allen it is. And here we are, at Arlington National Cemetery, in front of Allen's grave. I know there are some who, upon hearing this story, will think Allen was a gutless wimp for taking his wife's crap for so long. I know there are some who would question why he put up with the humiliation as long as he did. I'm one of them. Maybe he was a bit wimpy for a time. Maybe he thought the love they once had would win out in the end. Who knows? Maybe he thought she would come to her senses after a while. I chose not to judge the man since I wasn't there. What I do know for a fact is what I witnessed that day in Cozumel. That was certainly not the act of a gutless wimp. I pulled a small eagle, globe, and anchor out of my uniform pocket and placed it on his headstone. Semper Fi, Allen, rest in peace. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.